Hello, we're live with the Blue Room podcast. I'm Lincoln, and today my guest is one of my nearest and dearest friends, Elycia Ross, who is currently one of the stars of Top Chef Canada. In fact, episode 4 is tonight. So I wanted to catch up with you briefly before episode 4 airs and just kind of talk to you about um, we're in pandemic times, so like how has this kind of, because obviously like you're a big deal now, right? So I want to know like how the pandemic has kind of um or like how this is kind of all happening during pandemic times.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going down not how I anticipated because I mean, who can anticipate a pandemic? But it's been overall an pretty positive experience in terms of I feel like people are really like rallying around each other right now. So it's been a little bit of um I don't know, it's just been really nice seeing how people have really wanted to come out and support me when the food truck's been able to be open and
Right.
yeah, it's just yeah, generally pretty positive.
That's good. Yeah, cuz so your food truck, Little Truck on the Prairie, here in
Mm.
Calgary, you guys are open now, sort
Yes.
of.
Yeah, we've got our truck going in a food truck. Oh my God, a drive-through food truck kind of festival that YYC Food Trucks is putting on.
Okay.
So it's been really great. We have a Taco Tuesday tomorrow at South Center Mall, so it should be fun.
Oh, that sounds amazing. What
Yeah,
are you
I'm excited.
what are you doing for the Taco Tuesday?
Well, we've got three different tacos tomorrow. A crispy jerk chicken taco. Yeah, I know. We're Adam, my business partner, his family is from Trinidad, so he's got this like really insane recipe he's been working on and tweaking for years. So we're gonna pull that out,
Okay.
and we have a kind of like a Big Rock. We've been doing some collaboration with Big Rock Brewery, so we're doing like a Big Rock braised chicken that's gonna have like a little Asian influence, as well as a hanger steak taco that's got kind of more of like a authentic Mexican vibe.
That's super cool. Good for you.
Thanks. I'm
Getting all them endorsements. I like it.
pretty excited. I mean, and Big Rock supplied us with like I asked them for like a case of trad beer, and they were like, okay, but also here's all this other beer and cider and rosé cider. So I think they're I don't know. I'm like, are you trying to derail my career or what, Big Rock? Jeez.
No, it just sounds like they really like you. So
Yeah.
here's all this free beer. Okay, so we're only gonna do like a short episode today, just to kind of prep everybody that's watching for the, pardon me, for the episode tonight. So I do have some questions that were submitted to
Okay.
kind of go over with you if that's cool.
Would love
Um,
that.
so actually, Adam, our buddy Adam, he says, "I love pasta, but I hate the next day leftovers.
Ooh.
Any pasta dishes that are good to reheat? Question mark, question exclamation mark, question mark."
Well, Adam, thank you for asking such a legitimate question. But unfortunately, I mean, other than like lasagna, which I feel like he probably already knows. I don't know. Reheating pasta, just don't do it. It's like reheating McDonald's French fries. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
great first time, but no.
Well, it's just
Like,
a soggy, chewy mess after that.
yeah, and like, why put yourself through that? I wouldn't personally.
Okay,
I
so
guess, yeah.
the key there is don't reheat pasta.
Yes. Or if you do, don't expect it to taste good and know what you're getting yourself into.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I could see like reheating mac and cheese
Yeah,
if
okay, fair.
if
It's got
it,
baked pasta.
fair enough. But I could see reheating mac and cheese if there was a little bit of your beer cheese mixed in, added in to
Whoa.
give it like an extra creamy, like it would I feel like that would bring back the creaminess of like the yesterday's mac and cheese.
I think you might have cracked the code. Are you coming for my job, Lincoln? You better not be.
Hell yeah. We actually, the boys and I, Adam challenges us. We have to bake something we've never made before. The
Oh my
three of
God.
each one of us has to bake it, and then we're gonna social distancing meet and like give each other a part of it, and then we're all gonna do an episode where we try it. So I found a recipe for banana bread brownies.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try it, see if it works. If it's probably gonna suck because I'm not the chef here. I'm not the
Thanks for clarifying.
point of this episode. Okay, the next question. Somebody asked, what is inspiring you lately?
Right now I'm feeling super inspired by kind of like bringing community together and the other chefs in the city, really. Like, I've been working with some people at Rouge doing some volunteering to feed kind of like those that usually use the school systems to supply them with their daily meal. Like, a lot of
Right.
kids in the city, yeah, they don't normally have access to regular food. So I've been really trying to stay positive, thinking about yeah, just kind of stuff like that, and how food is a huge connector for people, and that even in a time of kind of crisis, I guess, where we might not be able to connect in the way we normally do, just to make sure that people are still getting their basic needs, but also like that little bit extra, because food is emotional, and we want people to be like as happy and kind of like feel as normal as possible right now.
Totally. And I mean, you guys have been doing a lot of giving back because what is it? A lot of the funds that you're getting from the truck being open and these food truck festivals are going back into COVID relief as well.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of direct connection with exactly where some of the like how that works, but YYC Food Trucks does have a policy where we give a percentage of what we make, and then they do kind of fold that back into the community. So
Right.
it's pretty interesting to see everyone kind of like keeping that in mind and making sure that everyone's getting taken care of. And I personally, I mean, like, socialism rules, so I'm about it.
No, that's good. And I mean, like you cook amazing food, so I mean,
Aw.
what better could someone ask for than like an up and coming, you know, famous chef to make them a meal?
Aw, well, thank you. I mean, I think that is definitely exciting for people. It's something that's like, I mean, it sounds funny to say it about myself, but like, I really felt like I've been able to bring a little bit of like joy to some people that, like, when they drive through the food truck and they've been watching Top Chef, and it just feels like a little bit special because right now everything feels really like bleak and boring. So
Yeah.
if I can like stick my goofy face out and wave at them, and they for some reason are happy about it, I'm okay.
No, I mean you've really brightened uh, Krista and my day like the last 2 weekends because we've gotten to see you go like coming
Aw,
to visit the truck and stuff. And oh, okay, I have to say, because we saw it was yesterday that we got
yeah.
the chicken sandwich and the poutine. Oh my god, that chicken sandwich is fucking unreal.
I'm so glad. Okay, we were kind of nervous because it's actually so Tegan is the one that came up with like the method on how to like dredge that chicken recipe. It's with
Okay.
tapioca flour, and like I was kind of hesitant because I was like, hey, not only am I like not a fried chicken master, and there's like all these other people in the city like Nicole Gomez, she does fried chicken, like there's Zilford's fried chicken truck. Like, I was like, I don't know if this is my jam, but people were really like, I'm like, are we at fried chicken truck now or what?
You fucking nailed it.
Oh, I'm so glad you
It
think
was
so.
so good. The crunch. Okay, I'm not a cabbage person at all, but the crunchy texture of the cabbage with that like dill spread you had on there, coupled
Yeah,
with like the crunchy but like not overly crunchy chicken, like all together on that really soft bun, the brioche bun. Oh my god, the textures worked so well, and the taste was just unbelievable.
oh, I'm so happy you think so. Actually, speaking of people that are giving back, we supply our buns through the European bakery on 17th Ave
Okay.
downtown, kind of. And they were like totally struggling from COVID and didn't really know what they were going to do. And he thought he was going to have to lay off his brother-in-law.
Oh shit.
And then he started like, I don't know the exact story, but he was like supplying bread essentially for elderly people that needed it. And a story was written about him in the newspaper. And now he's got people like driving in to order his bread that he's never seen before. And like things are kind of taking off again. So it's been cool to see people caring, people giving back, and then being rewarded for it, and also having like this amazing quality product. Like you said, the bun kind of brings that sandwich together.
I don't know if I've ever had like a bun that good.
I haven't.
I've
I'm
definitely
obsessed with them.
Yeah,
So
I've
good.
definitely had good bread in the past, but that thing was fucking next level.
Yeah,
It
a
was
hundred
on
percent.
and I know everybody watching or listening doesn't they can't taste it right in this moment, but I implore you to go and visit the truck the next time they do this chicken sandwich, and I hope that becomes like a part of the menu. I do
we're
actually,
we're thinking about it. I
yeah,
do. It's like, what have I done? I can't take it away now. I've
no,
I've given it to the people. I certainly can't revoke
no, because that's that.
such a
I think
gift.
that's my new. I think that's my. It was the bison burger. Now that's my new favorite thing.
More than the bison
I
burger?
think I the chicken sandwich might and yeah, and I mean like I will say I did dab it in a little bit of hot sauce at a certain point just to add a little bit of a
I'm
extra
into it.
kick to it, and holy fuck, all of that mixed together with like Frank's buffalo just to kind of
Ooh.
little added extra kick was unbelievable.
I imagine that being so good.
It was
But
like a
like,
Nashville hot chicken sandwich.
yeah, I've got like some extra pieces at home. I might be, or not at home, but at the food truck. I feel like the food truck is real home and my home is fake home.
That's
So
fair.
in my real home, I have a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, but a whole bunch for a single person is not the same as a whole bunch for the food truck. So I feel like I'm being weirdly specific, but
So you've got like six giant pieces of chicken that you're like, these are all
yeah,
for me. No,
exactly.
that
So
makes
I mean,
sense.
and now I'm gonna go get hot sauce. It's gonna be a whole thing.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's move along. Somebody else asked, have you always been passionate about cooking, or were there other interests that you thought about venturing into?
Mm. Um, I guess, yeah, I've always really loved food and cooking. Like it's been kind of a part of my life as long as I can remember, even as a kid. But I do have like, I mean, I have other interests.
As does
I
everyone.
pardon?
As does everyone.
Yeah, like I've I mean, everyone goes through their phases, but kind of like art was my first love, and I wanted to be an archaeologist for a really long time.
What? Can we touch on that for a second? You
Sure.
wanted to be an archaeologist?
Yeah, for like that was like my first dream. I really wanted to like discover shit.
That's so you wanted to be the female equivalent of Indiana Jones.
There might have been a slight inspiration coming from the lovely Harrison Ford. Uh, it can happen to anyone, really. Yeah, no, I mean, I was really like into Egypt, and I thought like curses and mummies were cool for. I mean, you know me,
I
I'm
know,
weird.
yeah.
I've
No,
like,
I know you. Yeah. That's super cool.
uh,
I never knew that about you.
yeah.
And what came after archaeology?
Forensic science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the weird kid in middle school that uh, at the science fair, everyone was doing like how to build a rocket ship and what's in lip gloss. And I did the decomposition of the human body with like little molded decomposing eyes and fingers that I created out of plasticine the night before. And everyone was like, something wrong with her. She need therapy or something. Or
Uh,
what do you guys think about this? And everyone just kind of was like, we're not going to touch it just quite yet.
that's that's incredible. Um so what's another question we have here?
Sure.
We have a bunch. I'm just trying to get
No,
through
go
them.
for it.
What is the hardest dish you've ever made?
For one sec.
Oh,
Sorry, I have a 5-year-old and there's
Oh,
things happening around the house, so I'm just trying to make sure this quietness is happening. But we're cool, so we're
okay.
back.
Okay.
Anyways, continue.
What is the hardest dish you've ever made?
Oh God. Well, I the first thing that comes back to mind is the beet pickled deviled eggs from
Fr-
last
from last
episode.
week.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That was I would say like the most difficult I've ever had completing a task. Like usually, I mean, I've had disasters all over the place. I've forgotten chicken for a wedding before, and like I had to get my ex-husband to like meet halfway and like bring the chicken. Like I'm sure that's not a comfortable thing to be like, hey, person that I'm sorry I divorced, go get my chicken for
Oh,
me.
oh, he was already your ex when you asked him to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So like there's always disaster, but making those eggs and like I had burnt my hands. I'd had a migraine that day. I was like, my eggs were not peeling. I had 120 eggs I need to peel in like an hour plus all the other prep. And I just knew like the moment that I got back into that kitchen, I was like, this was a mistake. Like I made a huge mistake. And yeah, oh well.
okay. So let's, because at this point that's, that episode's already aired. Let's talk about the eggs a little bit.
Sure.
Do you do you regret, because I've had your the first time I ever had a pickled egg was one of your beet pickled eggs. First
Yeah.
time I ever had
Okay.
a pickled egg in my life, and it's good. It's delicious. And like for people that I'm not necessarily a pickled egg fan, that's just me. But for people that
Totally.
love pickled eggs, that dish totally makes sense. That being said, do you, and like hindsight being what it is, do you regret the decision to go with that dish for that particular challenge? Because I know, because you even say at the beginning of the episode, and I've known this for years, that's like one of your staples on the truck, right? So
Yeah.
at the beginning of that episode, watching as a viewer, when you're like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, this is one of my staples on the truck, and this and that, like to me, me watching that, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense that she would have done that dish.
Yeah, no, I hear totally what you're saying because like that was kind of like my inner dialogue. I knew like it was the only dish I knew going into Top Chef that I really, really wanted to try and make work. And I think that might be part of the problem because as like anyone that works in any kind of industry where you have to be adaptable, like you can have a plan, but you should never be married to the plan.
Right.
There should be flexibility and like, um, you know, thoughtfulness enough to say like, yes, emotionally I want to be doing this, but like, does it make any sense to actually do it? And I didn't take the time to like really sit with that. I mean, to be fair, I didn't have the time because you have about 5 minutes to like actually gather your thoughts and make a solid decision on what you're going to be doing. Um,
Is that actually how long you have? Like you have five
yeah,
minutes to be like, oh, this is the dish I'm making.
yeah, they kind of like so they tell you like everything you see on TV is pretty much how it works. Like they tell you, you then are like, I mean, you're kind of there's totally like timing in between things, but it's pretty fast. They have a really quick system. So yeah, you kind of find out and then you're immediately like put into a situation where you have to say what you're doing. And
And then you have to go grocery shopping for it. And okay.
yeah, yeah, make a plan. You've got a budget. You know how many people you're supposed to feed. And like, I think it's easy to look back and say like I could have done a bison burger. I could have done
Could,
my mac and cheese.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Because I
but
at the end, I think at the end of the episode, I looked at Krista and I said, man, like why didn't, like, oh, if only she had done the bison burger. You know what I mean? Like, and it's that like hindsight thing of just like, ah.
totally. No, I really felt that and I think the I mean, I'm trying to live without regret through it. I'm trying to say to myself, like, it wasn't 100%. Like, I
It
did
was
have
one
missteps.
dish. It's one
Pardon?
dish. It's one dish. Like
Yeah.
it one
It
dish
was a good bad dish.
totally.
Yeah.
But that drastic um that like I can understand because at the end of that episode like you're in tears because that like I felt how demoralizing that was in that episode because you went from episode 1 like not nailing it in the quick fire to like absolutely blowing their fucking minds with the rabbit dish, and then it's like that decline to like, oh no, like I fucked up the eggs. Like that hurt. Like we both, Chris and I, watching
Aw.
that episode, we were like, oh my God, like we were not enjoying watching this because you're our friend and we're like, fuck, like that's not fun.
Aw.
Like
Yeah. I know it's funny. Like, I've been lucky enough to be able to watch with Tegan, my business partner, for those who aren't Lincoln and would not know that. Because we like kind of share space and have been social distancing like together, if that
right.
makes sense, because
Yep.
we own
Well,
the bit,
you have to work
it's
together, so it makes sense.
totally. So I've been lucky enough to be able to watch with her. And there was some wine last episode
Yeah.
during those eggs that we were like, maybe just a glass of wine will be better. And it is. And
Yep.
I'm over it now.
No, that's good.
So,
No, we're looking forward to the future. It's all good. So
yes.
I get that makes sense. That makes sense that the eggs would have been the hardest dish you've ever. Not just like, oh, this is difficult and I don't know how to make this. Just like I can totally see how that would have been very difficult on you.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And there's just like so much like emotional baggage that kind of comes with each dish. And then when you're on something like Top Chef and you're like also making these really amazing friends. Like, I really went into it thinking like, I'm in it to for myself and I'm here to make a name for myself and for my family and my friends that have always believed in me. But almost immediately you get this like intense bond, and we've had it from day one until like we still all talk daily on a group chat and like are all so supportive. And watching those people get sent home and get critique and like it's really crappy. Like, you just are so like, it's
Yeah.
like these highs and lows of like you're excited for your friends, you're sad, you're like,
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And as viewers, we're feeling that too. Like I can totally see the camaraderie and the that
Oh, that's
instant
good.
connection you guys all had. It's honestly I don't watch a lot of reality TV, but I'm really enjoying this and like
Oh, I'm glad.
and it's fun to watch because it plays with my emotions a lot.
Totally. Well, they do a really great
Yeah.
job of kind of like casting it and creating situations that touch hearts everywhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, they want to make interesting TV, and I think they've definitely succeeded, and they hired the right person with you.
Yay. Well,
Uh,
thank you for thinking so.
so that being said, how did it feel to be on TV? Like, how does it feel being on like a nationally broadcast television show?
It feels nuts. It feels okay. Well, I've wanted to be on Top Chef for like 10 years, which is crazy to even say that out loud. But so it's like very surreal, but
Yeah,
also very like validating because I've been questioned a lot throughout my career, and even just like, I don't know, just people see, a 5'1", like kind of soft spoken lady, and they're like, yeah, I don't have to listen to her. And then now I kind of feel like, but maybe you do.
oh, for sure. No, you're definitely making a name for yourself.
Thank
Like
you.
in the few years that I've known you, like it's the growth in your career has been exponential, and it's been absolutely it's been so much fun to watch and like and be a
Yeah.
small part of that in the little things we've done together and whatnot. It's been
Oh my gosh.
so
Well, you've
much.
been there for me like this whole time, pretty much. Like, I met you right before the food truck opened, and like
Yep.
you and Krista have always been there for me. And I just like it's so, I really feel like kind of all of the like really important people in my life kind of came in like around that time. And
Yeah.
it's really interesting that like I feel like we've all kind of been on this cool journey together, even if, you know, people didn't ask to come along. I'm like, too bad you're coming.
Like I'm dragging you kicking and
You're
screaming.
coming.
You're
So
coming. Um, ooh, one thing I did want to know.
mhm.
So with all of you, like I know it's crazy while you're shooting and stuff like that, but do you get to like try the other chefs like food and stuff while you're doing it?
Not really.
No.
Like here and there, you kind of can steal a bite, or like we were all very like I thought it was really cool. Everyone really wanted to like, hey, like try this sauce. Like, what do you think? Where's the
Right.
acidity level? Like, and there was a lot of honesty from everyone. Like, I didn't get a vibe of people being like, oh, it's great.
Oh,
Not
like to
like,
yeah to screw like ooh maybe try again.
yeah. So it, I mean, it was too bad because I do really like I see some of the dishes and I'm like, I didn't even know that existed until I saw it on TV. So it
Oh
can be a
really?
little bit disjointed.
Okay, yeah, because we s- that was one interesting thing from the end of last episode, because Joe won with the brownie, right? And then so they call the first three people into the room or whatever, and like they're like looking worried and all that stuff, and we're like, why are they worried? We know like they won the dishes or whatever, but that actually makes sense because when you're in the middle of it, you're disconnected from everything else that's going on, and you're not necessarily seeing what everyone
Oh,
else is doing. Right. So
totally.
for Joe, like who's going in her mind, she's like, I made a brownie. I might have made the worst thing of the day. And
Yeah.
so, and you can see it in her face when they're like, "Oh yeah, you had our favorite dish of the day," and she's like, "What?"
Seriously, and Joe is so funny cuz like her and I are definitely like two of the less traditional in terms of like the way we've gone about our careers. And I felt like we didn't totally connect right off the bat.
Right.
But as we kind of got to know each other, we were like, we kind of get each other in the way that like we do things. We're not fancy. Like we kind of
You're right.
do things our own way and like have our own little philosophies about things. And I think that can kind of set you up to feel like an underdog. But in reality, like it's not that you're less talented or worse. It's just you're doing things in just a different way than say Francis with all its fancy Francis
That
stuff.
dude is so he cannot he has such a style when it comes to cooking that he cannot divorce himself from at all. It's
Yeah.
and I'm interested to see if that's gonna work against him throughout the series, because yeah, it worked really well for him when he made the corn dog and the and his own little condiments and all that stuff, but it's like I feel at some point that that's got to fuck things up because he's just like trying to be too fancy.
Well, he is fancy Francis, actually.
And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm really
No, yeah.
interested to see if that does come back to bite him in the butt a little bit.
Well, that's a really fair point. I mean, we'll just all have to wait and see. But I will say one thing is that like Francis is one of the nicest guys. Like he's a wild person that like totally is like high energy and out there. But he had us like doing boot camp while we were waiting off set. Like he's a total comedian backstage, and like he I don't smoke cigarettes, but I do smoke cannabis for my mental health. And he was the only other one that smoked cigarettes. So we
Right.
would have breaks together, and like you kind of get to know people. I mean, as a lot of kitchen people, that's kind of your only
The smoke
real
break.
bonding time.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
So it was funny to be like, I'm this kind of like quirky out there chef, and he's this really like rigid, like on it, kind of intense guy. But we really were like pals outside of that, which was cool.
That's super cool. That I you know what? I that makes me like that dude even more. Like
Honestly, like it's funny. I think it comes naturally for everyone to kind of like not essentially not exactly like pit people against each other, but kind of try and find out like where the cracks are.
right.
And I think that like the thing that even the producers and the like the crew that help were really like, you guys like really like each other. Like,
All of
can we
you?
maybe all of them, all of
Oh,
us,
oh
like
wow.
everyone, like they really were like, you guys just like, is there any kind of rift we can like,
So they
scratch
were
into?
trying
But
to like tear you apart. That's
yeah, like just
hilarious.
a little bit. But
But that makes for such a good uh like kind of, story afterwards. Like, no, we all loved each other so
yeah,
much, like,
oh, it's
because
so true.
there's gotta be seasons of that show where like people went into it and they all fucking hated each other and like
Oh yeah,
were
I've heard some stories.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fucking cool. That does make me like Francis quite a
Aw.
lot. So one thing that and I've touched on this a little bit with you, just kind of like talking over text or whatever, but Mark McEwen, whenever he's talking to you or about what you're doing or what, that dude, you can see it in his face. He fucking loves everything you're doing. He honestly, right from episode 1, even with the dish, what was the first dish? What was the quick fire one?
The bison. I don't even know. I don't even know what
Yes,
to call it.
yeah, the bison thing. Like he there the he's like, obviously there was like little things about it that they didn't like, but when you get to the rabbit dish, that dude immediately falls in love with everything you're about
Aw,
in that
thank you so much
challenge.
for saying that. Like, it's funny, you're not the only person like that's brought that up. And even people that I don't really know have like commented to friends or family or whatever the same thing.
Yeah,
And when you're in the moment, like you totally don't feel that at all. You're like, everyone hates me,
yeah,
like the judges are mean, but honestly, uh Chef McEwen was very, very kind. Like he has like kind of just like a kind energy about him that I wasn't expecting. And kind of across the board, like Mi June Pak, her face is the scariest face I've ever seen on a human being. Like she can put on this like just soulless, like I'm going to suck every ounce of like happiness out of you for a moment.
right.
Um, but in reality, she's actually lovely.
Yeah.
So I mean she is scary in reality too, but she
Yeah, but
is.
I for sure I see how like some of that they got to turn it on for like TV and whatnot,
Mhm.
sorry, I'm just gonna turn my notifications off. Getting
Oh,
work stuff.
oh, good.
Um, yeah. So that all being said, Krista wants to know: did you ever get to hug Chef McEwen? Because it seemed like he wanted to hug you.
Oh my god. I don't think so. I honestly uh can't remember, but he is always wearing very fancy suits and I'm always covered in food.
Yeah.
So I feel like even if there was an opportunity or a want for a hug, the amount of money that would have to be going into dry cleaning would just not be worth
Not be worth. Yeah,
it.
that's totally fair. Another quick one. Where did you get the carrot sweater?
Per in Inglewood, yeah, like per
Because
PURR clothing store in
you had
Calgary for women
you had
and
a
men.
you had a carrot sweater and you had a radish one, didn't you?
No, it was
It
one
was
and the same.
it was
It's
just
okay. There's debate. I've heard people say that there are beets, carrots, radishes. Someone I think probably tried to say it was something totally different because they were trying to be different
all in the
and
same.
unique.
Okay, okay. Well then, yeah, I thought it was radishes.
I don't know. Well, now I'm confused.
Yeah, no, I'm confused too. Maybe I. Either way, that's where
It's a
you got it.
vegetables.
That's where you got vegetable.
Yes.
So one last question that I have for you. All stars. If the opportunity arose to do top Canada, like Top Chef Canada All Stars, and they were like, "Hey, we want you," would you do it? Would you do it all over again?
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like, I mean, Top Chef Canada is something that it's it's something everyone wants to do, and it doesn't matter how well you do, your first time around, whether you win, whether you lose. It's always good to go back and like just I found so much inspiration from the experience and so much insight from the other chefs around me.
Totally.
Like, I would go back in a heartbeat. I mean, for anything. Yeah.
Sweet.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, I guess we'll see how this whole season shakes out with you and all the other contestants. I mean, obviously, it's a how many? I don't know how many episodes there are in a season. Are there 10?
There's 8.
Oh, so we're halfway through today.
We're halfway through today.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So, well, that actually surprised. I thought we had more episodes to watch. All right, well, tonight is episode 4 of Top Chef, which stars Elycia Ross. Tune in, and I want to thank you so much for doing this and for
Oh my
coming
God.
to chat
Thank
with
you for
me.
having me.
Yeah,
I've been really enjoying watching you from afar in your podcast with all your pals, so it's
yeah.
been fun to be a part of it, and
Well, and
you asked lots of great questions, so thank
oh,
you.
of course. Yeah, we have some kind of plans and stuff that are going to involve you going
Yeah.
forward with me and the boys, and like kind of well, we'll need your celebrity judging opinion at some
Okay.
point. I'm not going to say any more than that, but that'll
Well, I'm here for it.
perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to transition us out. Thanks for
Perfect.
watching. Thanks for watching, everybody.